When it comes to wrapping hands, what I advocate is remodeling your bones. I want your knuckles literally to get bigger, thicker, and heavier. Think of it as being able to sneak a roll of quarters into the fight. Bone density is a good thing. Bone responds to force. So the more force it has to adapt with, it's called osteogenesis, the more bone remodeling is going to occur. The reason the heel bone is the hardest bone in the body is because it's constantly, since you started walking, mitigating tons of force. However, there's a time to do conditioning exercises, and there's a time to not worry about it. Put your wraps on, put your gloves on, and do your bag work, do your pad work, do your high intensity work. The reason we wrap our hands primarily is to keep the small bones in the hands from spreading out. It's going to be important to have this reinforced. Because of the bone remodeling, I don't advocate creating an extra cushion, which a lot of boxers and some Muay Thai fighters will do. They will add extra cushioning there. My bias is MMA, and my background was bare knuckle MMA, so I think you should have gnarly knuckles. The two things that wrapping your hands can do can add a little cheap insurance: the spreading of the small bones and stabilizing the wrist. The wrist should be strengthened through your weight training and conditioning. You want a little extra stability here, a little extra stability here, and I do wrap the thumb. I find having the thumb wrapped extremely annoying and distracting. Therefore, everyone that I train, I wrap their thumb so that they get used to it. We want the wrap, the fabric, pretty much where you see the glove. We want the palm free. So especially in MMA, if you're grappling, you want this area clear so that you can grab. But even for boxing and Muay Thai, this at best is a waste of material. It can get jammed up in here, it can cause cramping in here. So leave the palm clear. You want the fabric here, here, and a little bit here. Make sure that nothing is bunched up or creased or folded. That can cause cuts and injury on the skin. So make sure it's nice and flat. Loopy thing over the thumb, to the outside of the wrist, around the wrist. I usually go 2 or 3 times. Then up to the pinky, across the bottom, back to the top. Now I call that the old school, back down to the wrist. From here, under the wrist, over the thumb. Make sure that that doesn't bunch up. After the thumb, back up to the pinky. With elastic wraps, this isn't going to do anything. But in your fight wrap, when you use tape, taping from here up will prevent or assist if the thumb gets jammed. It will keep the webbing from tearing. So for your practice wrap, you're really just getting used to having the thumb wrapped. So from the thumb, back up to the pinky, down around the wrist, and now up between the pinky and the ring finger, and then you come across and out by the index finger, down around the wrist, between ring finger and middle finger, come out again, same spot, down to the wrist, up to the index finger and middle finger. Gets a little tricky. I like to tuck it under and come out in front of the pinky. And you can push it up this way, fold it, and tighten it. Make sure that when you're wrapping with the Velcro up. Okay, now across the knuckles, and that's really just aesthetics, make it look pretty. Then come down and secure on the wrist. The palm is open for grappling. This bar gives you extra cushion to prevent you from jamming your fingers this way, which with MMA gloves happens a lot. There you go.